Start?
Yeah. Welcome
All
everyone
right.
to this incredible live chat. Today we are joined by the multi-talented and fearless Tarina Patel, actress, producer, global entertainer, and one of the most outspoken voices in the industry. Tarina has never shied away from addressing difficult topics, and today we're diving into powerful and timely conversations about Bollywood representation, beauty standards, mental health, pay disparity, and the evolution of women in cinema. This is not just another interview, it's a deep, honest, and meaningful discussion with someone who has lived the industry from the inside. So get ready for a raw and refreshing perspective, and feel free to drop your questions and thoughts in the comments. Let's jump right in. How are you, Tarina?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm awesome. It's been such a long time I've actually seen you because the last time I saw you was like many years ago.
Probably. I think I spend a lot more time outside of South Africa than I ever do back home. I mean, this is still home. I feel
Of
very
course.
happy to call it home. I feel privileged to call myself a South African. I feel like we have such a blessed life here. I think we're so like rooted in wholesome realness, and especially now on account of everything else that's happening in the rest of the world. Who would have thought that we would so proudly say that, oh my God, South Africa honestly is like the most beautiful country in the world to live in? It really genuinely is. It's a tragedy that I don't spend enough time, but I think that's just like the nature of being a free spirit in the way that I am, being adventurous, being, you know, a kind of up and go, always like not being attached to any geographical space as such, but just kind of going with the flow. I like the fluidity and flexibility that I live by, and that I suppose the life I've curated allows me to have.
Yeah, that's true, eh? Because at the end of the day, it's like just having that fine balance, and as long as you are comfortable in your own skin, that's what matters. All right, all right. To get the ball rolling, you've been very successful in the entertainment industry. Do you feel the pressure of constantly being judged by your looks, and how do you deal with that?
The whole conversation around looks is just um it's always evolving. Beauty standards are constantly changing. Um the way that people sort of fight back at it is also on its own evolutionary process. But for me personally, it's like a double-edged sword, simply because on the one hand it has allowed me the life that I now have. It has
Mm,
opened doors. It's given me the career that I have. In this regard, I was in India at medical school, and I was spotted, and I was kind of given this opportunity, and it just fell into my lap, simply because of the attractive appeal that I had to scouts. This was not my designed life. This was not the path that I was traversing. In fact, it was completely the antithesis of everything that I had sort of chalked out, or that was chalked out for me. So I'm grateful that that opened up the doors, and it gave me the life that I have today. Having said that, only too often has it worked against me, because people find you attractive and may want more than what the work environment demands.
yeah.
Oftentimes, the kinds of characters that I've been attracted to require a certain type of look. For instance, I was shortlisted on Slumdog Millionaire, and I
Ah,
auditioned 3 or 4 or 5 times, and the look just didn't work. And Danny was like, Tarina, you've got a sophisticated look about you, and you don't look like you could have come from the slums. And that for me will always be a sore point, because I know, we all know how the film exploded, and till today it is one of the most iconic films ever, with one of the
yeah.
greatest Oscar wins. And that was so close yet so far. So on the one hand, it's opened many, many doors. On the other hand, it's shut that door really sort of, rapidly in my face. Um, but God has made me in a certain way. I'm grateful for everything that I'm blessed with. And I think I've tried to, or I certainly have weaponized my beauty to be able to do the things that I want to do and use it to my advantage. And, so be it if it doesn't work in my favor.
Hmm.
There's no shortage of opportunities. And when there are, you create them. So in my regard, the kinds of films I was getting and the kinds of scripts that are wrote in my inbox. I've got countless scripts in my inbox, and I'd read it and I'm like, you know, you become more and more discerning, and I'm not exactly jumping at the chances I'm getting. So instead of crying about it, I'm trying to put my own projects together. And so I feel like if things don't work out, just create more opportunities for yourself. So that's where my mind space is at now.
Wow. As an actress, you've portrayed strong roles. How do you feel about the lack of diverse or complex female characters in mainstream cinema?
I mean, I definitely think that that's changing. I think that,
Okay.
with the onset of all the streaming platforms, whether it's Apple or Hulu or Amazon
Netflix.
Prime, hmm?
Yeah. No, I was saying
Yeah,
Netflix.
yeah, and I just feel like the kinds of shows that I'm watching, a lot of them are just female driven, meaty roles for women. I definitely think that environment's changing. I think that there's absolutely no film that can be made without a lot of female characters. It's pivotal to the story. It takes the narrative forward. I definitely feel like there are great roles increasingly for women. I think that writers across the board understand that, and it's just society, isn't it? It's just life as we know it. I mean, we're all surrounded by women and woman energy, and we're so distinctly different from male characters that they're
Hmm,
so mandatory and compulsory in film or in life or in everything, actually.
that's true. Do you think Bollywood has progressed enough in terms of inclusivity, or do you feel it has a long way to go in addressing diversity, especially in terms of race and gender?
Bollywood and race. I mean, Bollywood films center around Indians. So, I mean, you know, the cinema that I watch now, the shows that I watch on the various Indian streamers. I mean, I think it's fantastic. I just saw a film the other day called Huck. And I thought, what a brilliant film. Again, real life story. Um, Hot on the heels of seeing Huck, I saw Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway. I mean, these are strong female stories.
Hmm,
They represent very diverse groups of people, very diverse stories. And the impact certainly is astronomical. You left feeling the ramifications of the depth of that fight in both cases. I mean, to the point where it made headlines. It's affected laws and changes in law. So I think that we're telling increasingly more and more different stories, not your run of the mill running around trees love stories. We're
uh,
telling meaty stories. We're telling stories that are relevant, that shape society, that influence people, that inform people. And that's the nature of storytelling, is that, instead of lecturing people or having people, having the need to read a book or read articles, whatever it might be, you're telling it in a structured, entertaining format. But these are very important stories. So I think that there's no shortage of stories and series like the one I'm talking about. I mean, there was another one about weddings. It centered around a company that produced weddings, and again, every single episode touched upon very real issues that society faces in India. So they're not shying away from truths. They're not shying away from reality as it's known to be or as it is. And it's really great that cinema reflects real life. So
Awesome.
fantasy and reality, which is wonderful.
All right, before I continue, do you mind if I just show you a comment question here quickly?
Sure.
All right, this is from Jitin Rishika. Hi, Tarina, you are blessed and beautiful too. Tell us about Tarina, the traveler, wife, daughter, and sister off the camera.
Ah, all right. Thank you for your compliment, Reshika.
Yeah, Jitin
Uh,
Rishika, yeah.
yeah, the traveler. Wow, what can I say? I think I grab every opportunity to experience new places. And so I feel like I am so blessed to be able to be in this position where I get to visit many countries. In 2024, I think I spent 2 months in South Africa. And last year, 2025, I think I spent a month in South Africa. And I've
Oh,
literally been everywhere. So, yes, I go to a lot of countries repeatedly. I do Cannes Film Festival, I do Venice, I do Paris Fashion Week. I do a lot of like the staple events around the world. Monaco Grand Prix, London, Wimbledon. There's a lot of things that I repeat. But then, in the last year or two, I've visited fabulous places like Korea and Iran, um, Lebanon, um,
uh,
and I love the idea of just experiencing new cultures and that brings me to my point of being the wife. I often travel on my own. My husband and I travel a lot together, but he's got a very active life independent of mine, and so we kind of traversing our relationship as separately together. So he's got a very full life, as do I, but we happen to do it parallel and together. I'm not in his shadow, he's not in mine. I don't impinge on his freedoms, etc., and he doesn't on mine. And somehow, touch wood, it just works beautifully. We have a very strong trust and faith in each other. And and he, I don't want to say allows me, but he is so gracious about me constantly being on the go. He looks forward to hearing my stories. He's very proud of the kind of uh, passion that I live my life with, and I don't think he would ever dare to prevent me from doing it, stop me from doing it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't stop, but he is so gracious to never want to, like I said, impinge on my freedoms. Um, Having said that, I am a very good wife. I run my home. I on autopilot, and I think that most men love that their homes run well, and that's really designated to the wife. And so, even though I'm not here, I run the house on autopilot from a distance. I really take very good care of him when I'm home. I cook for him and I serve him, and I look after everything. I look after mental health and his physical health, and
wow.
his I play the perfect host. I build our social life. I'm so well networked, and we bring all of those networks together and we make magic. I feel like there's so much value that I add as a wife, as a partner, um, as a support to everything that he's doing. We are referred to as a power couple, and I think that it's done with intention. There's nothing selfish about what I'm doing, so whatever I go out and garner, it's really ultimately for us, as a team. Daughter, well, I sadly lost my dad some
Sorry.
years ago, and my father was the absolute love of my life. I think about him every day. Not a single day goes by where I don't fondly remember him. He's left me with so much. He shapes decisions I make, thoughts that I have, um, behavioral changes. I mean, I'm still so inspired by my father. He was my best friend. And I treasure the times that we have, because it was such an honor and a privilege to be able to call him my father. So I was a very good daughter to my dad, because I loved him. I knew how much I loved him, and I spent a lot of time with him, for which I'm so grateful. I have my mom. Um, I would like to think I'm a good daughter to her. I spend time with my mom. I invest in my relationship with her.
Mhm.
And I mean, she's alive. You're gonna have to ask her whether or not I'm a good daughter, but I try. I definitely try. Sister, again, I love my brothers. I really, really love my brothers. They are both wonderful guys, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human beings, and I'm so proud of them. You know, they're just so vivacious and hardworking and passionate and understanding and healthy communicators, and like they're fantastic guys. You're gonna have to ask them whether I'm good sister, but from my perspective, um, I think I am, because I'm always there. I'm loyal to a fault. I'm available to them. I love and respect them. And whatever they need, I'm a phone call away. My door is always open. They can call me anytime, and I think that that's what I would want in a sister, is like somebody to have my back, somebody to like love me no matter what. If I come home and I'm like, oh my God, there's an issue, they're like, okay, we're fixing it. We are solution oriented. We're going to get this done. We're going to fix it, and I am that to them. uh and I think that that makes me a good sister, because that's what you want, right? You want your siblings to love you no matter what and be there for you no matter what, and you want to feel empowered and strong because they got your back.
It's true. There are still some critics who feel that the entertainment industry doesn't treat actors fairly, especially women. Do you agree with this? And if so, what do you think needs to change?
um Look, I think that it's a very individual thing. I think that it's not about the industry. I think if women feel like they are being treated in a certain way, my advice to all of these women is stand up for yourself. you
Mm,
know and I think that it goes back to one's level of self-esteem, the ability to actually speak up. There's so many reasons why women don't feel the compulsion to stand up, because they may need the job really desperately, or they're afraid of something, or they're unable to actually articulate or voice what they feel. And I think that if people, men, women alike, if anyone is treated badly, the only advice I can give is speak up. Collate your thoughts, put your proofs together, put your examples together, and focus on articulating it in a non-confrontational, in a non-antagonistic way, and set out to have a healthy, um, practical, realistic, um, objective conversation with your boss. I've done it on set. I have friends in different industries who've done it in their work environments. And I think it doesn't only pertain to women. I think that there are many people who are taken advantage of, and I think it's sad. But
mm.
the only solution is to actually stand up for yourself. And I encourage people to find their voice and fight for your rights.
There's been a lot of debate about the outsider versus insider culture in Bollywood. As someone who came into the industry from outside, what has been your experience with this divide?
I mean, the industry is
Mhm.
very clannish. But having said that, there's so many people on the inside who are part of clans, who were outsiders at some point,
Okay.
right? I think that in every industry, again, at the risk of sounding redundant, but in every industry, when people work really hard, and a combination of luck and good fortune
Mm,
and etc., etc., they find themselves in certain rooms on the inside. That becomes a certain group. But I don't think that everyone has found themselves on the inside from the inception. If you look at the industry in India, there's so many star children.
Yeah.
that haven't made it, that aren't on the inside. So I don't think it's a blanket rule that every star kid, has an enchanted red carpet gaining, a green ticket. It doesn't work that way. Uh, on the other hand, there are so many people who are outsiders who've been beauty queens and have come in, or have done incredibly well on some TV show like Shah Rukh and has come in. So I don't think that there's a blanket rule that applies to
Yeah.
every element. I think that at the end of the day, there's luck, which, as they say in India, it's taqdeer. It's like written on your forehead. It's either there or it's
Mm.
not. And then there is just that hard work element where
Mm.
you knock down every door and you just demand your time in the sun.
Yeah, it's all about perseverance, isn't it? All right. Any celebrity that been outspoken about mental health issues? Have you ever felt the pressure to maintain a perfect image, and how do you think the industry should change in supporting mental health?
I don't think that it's about the industry changing to support mental health. I think that there are so many tools available today for people who have difficulties uh, with life, with aspects of life. It's not a collective, because every single person who has challenges, and that could be you, that could be me. Certainly I've been through my fair share of challenges, and it's not to say that there aren't more coming up. Tomorrow I could
Yeah,
wake up with another one. Next year there could be more. I'm just saying that from my experience, the advice I would give is for everyone to cultivate their own set of coping mechanisms, to curate your set of skills that help you navigate through life in whichever shape and form you conduct your life. Uh, there's no shortage today of material out there where it's free of cost. Everybody has a phone today, and I know that my algorithms on my social media really do follow my patterns. So I end up having so many sources of material speaking about coping mechanisms, understanding relationships, navigating the dynamics between relationships. And there's just so much to think about. There's so much that is being fed to us. And again, choice. You choose what you're able to, what you're keen on reading, and the algorithms will just feed that. And I think that certainly for me, it has strengthened my resolve in how I navigate my way through life and my difficulties, because I'm better informed every day. If I spend a certain amount of time listening to podcasts or reading quotes, or enjoying the discourse of learned individuals, whether it's psychologists or spiritual people or whatever, I feel like it gives me more material to mull over. And so I'm become very introspective. I apply my mind. I'm very aware and I'm very present, and I'm like in charge of my own thought processes. And the thing is that you're in charge of your thought processes. You can change your thought processes. You can change to think in a certain way. Those things are in your choice. It's in your control. And the more you work on that process, the better it becomes. You've got ways of looking at issues. You've got ways of conducting yourself in different environments, because social media is informing you. There's so much great information that's out there. Choose wisely what you listen to, what you subject yourself to, what you're putting into your brain, what you're putting into your psyche, and let that effect, and let that take effect on you. Let that influence the way you think and behave and engage.
in the past, there has been criticism of the way women are often pitted against each other in Bollywood. What's your opinion on this? And do you
We're
feel,
still talking about Bollywood, Siddharth? Why are we still talking about? Let's just talk about okay, so let's leave out Bollywood, but let's just talk about
okay,
the main
are you okay?
points.
Okay, do you mind if I talk about the social media influencers?
What was the previous question?
Oh,
Women being pitted against each other.
Yeah, I'm just gonna want to know your opinion on this, and do you feel the need for more solidarity among actresses? That's all.
It's like such a dog eat dog world, right? Every single woman is a potential competitor because there's the same genre of women. There's a typecast of Indian actresses. They
Hmm.
all kind of more
Hmm.
of the same. If one is not available, the next is available. If she's not available, let's go to the third. They're so easily interchangeable. So everybody's competition. But that doesn't prevent you from building
Hmm.
solidarity, because at the end of the day, you still need support. You still need your tribe. You need your girls. You need your friends. So you could have friendships within the industry because, you're seeing each other all the time at events, at launches, at premieres, at festivals, like you're always seeing them. It's inevitable that you're going to gravitate towards some. So on the one hand, sure, they are competitors to you, but that doesn't prevent you from trying to build a bond with everyone.
Yeah. Social media influencers and YouTubers are gaining
Gotcha.
significant traction. Do you feel traditional actors like yourself are being overshadowed by digital content creators?
Just say that again.
Oh, no, I was saying social media influencers and YouTubers are gaining significant traction. Do you feel traditional actors like yourself are being overshadowed by digital content creators?
No, but they do something else. I mean, digital content creators and influencers, they're not actors. They use social media as a platform to promote things. It could be themselves or clothing or makeup, or they're promoting FMCG goods and themselves. Actors take stories forward in moving film, right? In moving
Hmm.
stories. So these are two different professions altogether.
Okay.
I think that
Okay.
people can easily mistake
Mhm.
the one for the other.
Yeah.
I think because you get some influencers who have become celebrities, and then there are actors who are celebrities. But there are also sports people who are celebrities. There are politicians who are celebrities. There are authors who are celebrities. There's a lot of different verticals under the banner of celebrities. So I don't think that the one is interchanging the other. You can't go and make a film and take some influencer off YouTube or Instagram and put her in a film, or put him in a film. And you know if you want actors, you're going to take professional actors who are trained, who have experience. I don't think the one interchanges the other. I think it's easier for an actor to become an influencer. So I don't call myself an influencer. I'm an actor, but I also influence. You use your platform and your celebrityhood to influence. Not that you're an influencer. I'm not taking photos of a dress and, like, promoting a dress. Um, I work on collaborations, and if I'm being dressed for a certain event in my field, sure, you're promoting the team that got you ready for the event, not necessarily just selling a dress, right?
Yeah. That's true. All right. All I've got to say the thanks so much for your time and best of luck for your ventures.
Thank you so much. You too. Have a good one.
God bless.
Ciao. Bye.